Hi, and welcome to Hawks on the Wire. I am your host, Joan, and soon I will be introducing our guest. But first, I want to say that we only expect our guests to share what they are comfortable sharing. Also, I want to make this a safe environment for our guest. We do not judge in any way. It is our goal to share as many experiences, as many different perspectives as we can, so we can all learn. We are so appreciative that our guests are willing to share. And with that said, today I want to welcome Robin Richardson. Robin, thank you so much for talking with me. Would you like to say a little something about yourself?
Yes, I grew up in the Stanford neighborhood, and I was raised and grew up on Berkeley Square, got married, and moved a street over on Garden Row. My three children were raised in the same neighborhood as I did. In '93, the airport bought our homes. We bought a small farm and built a house in Highview. I always had a compassion for horses. We now have four horses and go trail riding as often as possible.
Oh, that sounds wonderful, beautiful lady. And these areas that you're talking about, this is Louisville?
Yes.
Louisville, Kentucky. Okay. Oh, very good. And would you like to maybe give us a brief description of the experience that you would like to share with us today?
Okay. I want to share with you my bereavement in my life. Why it is vital to share words of encouragement with others. My mother died at the age of 37 and leaving behind a husband, three teenagers, and that was tough in my life. We were also close to my grandmother, and she moved in with us. We were there 2 months, and she had a major stroke, was bedridden for 10 years. In 1994, my son Jason was 19 years old, and him and his buddies went four-wheeling in Bardstown. It was 5:30 in the evening, and I got home from work and was sitting at the kitchen table eating a bowl of chili and got a phone call. My son hit a tree with his four-wheeler, was being air staff flighted to U of L Trauma Hospital. My family wasn't home, so I called my friend, and they took me to U of L.
Oh my.
He went to heaven the next day, had accident on 118, passed away 119, was at the funeral home on 120, and my youngest daughter turned 16 on the 20th.
On her birthday, he was at the funeral home.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh, Robin. And how did you cope through all that grief?
Well, I went to the Compassionate Friends for 5 years after the passing of Jason, and that really helped me.
Okay.
And the people there are the only ones that really understand, unless you have buried a child, you don't understand.
Mm-hmm. And what is Compassionate Friends?
When you lose a child, they get together once a month and have meetings, and you sit around at a table, and you don't have to say anything, but when it comes your turn, you can talk about your child if you want to.
I see. And so it's like a support group, and you went to that for like 5 years.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Very
Yes.
good.
And I recommend some kind of counseling, and to stay busy and keep on praying and don't lose your faith
Mm-hmm.
when something like this happens.
Yes, and it had to been like just even understanding what did happen. That was so sudden. Jason was in perfect health, I take it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to share a little bit about the type of person Jason was?
Okay, yeah. Jason had many friends, was fun-loving, hardworking guy. two jobs. He worked at Sam's and he delivered newspapers. And had two jobs because he liked to have nice things and he bought nice clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And a week after his passing, a gentleman knocked on the door and had a card for Jason. And he didn't know, anything had happened. And when I told him, he was in shock.
Oh.
He said that was the best paper boy that, they had ever had.
Yes. Oh. I just really appreciate you talking about Jason. How do you all have certain things that you do to when you remember him?
Well, we go to the funeral home and the cemetery's right behind there, Evergreen. And a lot of times we take balloons, for his birthday and the holidays, and we release them.
Oh, that's a great idea. And you had mentioned to me earlier that your daughter Kim posted things on Facebook sometimes.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, and his birthday was April 2nd, and she wrote on Facebook and asked about how he would look. Would he be married? Would he have any children?
Mm-hmm.
And, what he'd be doing then.
Yes. Yes. Well, I really appreciate you sharing, beautiful lady. I know this brings up, a lot of memories, and some of that sometimes that's hard. Do you have anything else that you would like to say to others that have lost a child or maybe going through something similar where they're grieving, where somebody has passed?
Yeah, I recommend, that people, they will have bad days, especially, the holidays and the birthdays and that.
Mm-hmm.
But, people will get through it, and one day we'll all be together again. And, I recommend counseling and to stay busy and keep on praying and don't lose your faith.
Well, I love that. I love that image. We'll all be together again. Well, thank you, Robin, so much for sharing today. You are just an amazing, beautiful lady, and I really appreciate you. And to all our Hawks on the Wire listening, it is our hope that this has helped you in some way, big or small. And remember, when you hear a hawk calling, do what we do. Stop and think of someone you love, someone you know, and send them a bunch of love.